This is where the two of us sit down and figure out together how to make an ordinary home into a holy one small thing at a time. So grab your coffee, get settled, and let's talk. Today, it's about the crucifix, and specifically the crucifix in your bedroom. And I'll tell you right up front, I think most of us, myself included for half my life, have been getting this wrong. Not wrong in a way that's sinful, wrong in a way that's just a missed opportunity. We hang the cross in the bedroom because we know we're supposed to have one, and then we hang it in a spot that almost guarantees we'll never really look at it. So today, I want to tell you the one spot a bedroom crucifix belongs, why it matters more than you'd think, and the honest truth about what it does and what it doesn't do. Stay with me because the spot itself is going to surprise some of you. Let me be honest with you about what I actually did in my own home for years. The crucifix in our bedroom hung on the wall just inside the door. Why? No reason. That's just where there was room. You walked in. It was on your left, up high near the closet. And you know how often I looked at it? Almost never. Because here's the thing about that spot. You only face it when you're walking into the room. And when you're walking into the room, you're thinking about 100 things. Your shoes, the light switch, the laundry, whatever the day dumped on you. The cross was there, but it wasn't with me. It was decoration on the way to the bed. And one night, and I remember this clearly, I was lying there awake at 200 in the morning, the way you do when you get older, and the worries come to visit. And I was staring at the ceiling, and I thought, why am I staring at the ceiling? There's a crucifix in this room, and it's behind my head by the door in the dark, where I will never once see it when I actually need it. So let me say it plainly. The spot the crucifix in a bedroom belongs on the wall you face from the bed, across from the headboard, on the wall your eyes land on when you're lying there. The first thing you'd see when you open your eyes in the morning, and the last thing your gaze can rest on before you close them at night. That's the spot. Not behind you, not by the door, not up so high you'd have to sit up and squint. On the facing wall at a height you can see lying down, where the crucifix can keep watch over you in exactly the hours you most need watching over. The dark hours, the waking at 200 in the morning hours. That's when a bedroom is really a bedroom, and that's when the cross should be where you can see it. Now, let me tell you why this matters so much, and it goes deeper than just a nice view. Think about what a bedroom actually is. It's the most honest room in your house. It's where the masks come off. Out there in the world, you hold it together. In the kitchen, you're busy. In the living room, there's company, but the bedroom is where you lie down with whatever you're really carrying. It's where the fear comes, the grief, the regret you keep at arm's length all day finally catches up with you at night. The bedroom is where you are most alone with yourself and most alone with God, whether you talk to Him or not. And so the bedroom of all the rooms is the one that most needs the cross in plain sight, because the message of the crucifix is the exact message you need at 200 in the morning. It says you are not suffering alone. It says God Himself knows what it is to be in pain in the dark. He's been there. He's there with you now. There is no comfort in the house like that comfort. And you've been hanging it by the closet. Let me say that more carefully because I don't want to oversell it. I'm not telling you that looking at a crucifix makes the fear go away. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you lie there and you look at the cross and you still feel awful. That's allowed. But here's the difference. There's a kind of awful you go through alone, and there's a kind of awful you go through with someone, and the cross on the facing wall in the dark is a quiet reminder that you are in the second kind. You're not alone in it. Even when it doesn't feel better, it is different. And over time, that difference is everything. I want to tell you about a woman I sat with. I'll call her Margaret. Margaret was a worrier her whole life, and after she lost her husband, the worry turned into something worse. The nights got very bad. She'd lie awake with her heart pounding, convinced something terrible was about to happen. Unable to pray, unable to rest. And when she told me about it, I asked her my usual question. I said, "Margaret, where's your crucifix?" And she said, "Oh, it's in the bedroom, of course." And I said, "We're in the bedroom?" And she had to think about it. And then she said, "Over the dresser, I think off to the side." So we just moved it onto the wall at the foot of her bed, where she'd face it lying down. And it did not cure her anxiety. I want to be honest about that. She still had hard nights, but she told me something a few weeks later that I've never forgotten. She said, "Robin, now, when I wake up scared in the dark, the first thing I see is him." And she said it's like having a nightlight, but the light is a person. A nightlight, but the light is a person. I couldn't have said it better if I tried. And here's the other half of it, the morning half, which almost nobody talks about. We think about the cross at night, but think about the waking, the very first second of your day, before your feet hit the floor, before the worries come rushing back in, before you remember everything that's wrong. Your eyes open and they land on something. For most people, it's the ceiling or the phone they grab too fast, but it could be him. The first face of your day could be the face of Christ. And I'm telling you, that first second sets a tone you carry for hours. I've watched it in my own life. On the mornings I wake, and the first thing I see is the cross, I start the day already turned toward God before I've even decided to. On the mornings, my first move is to grab the phone. I start the day turned toward the world, the news, the noise, the fear. Same man, same room, different first glance. And here's the stakes of that plainly. We are formed by what we look at first and last. The advertisers know it. The phone makers built a fortune on it. So the question is just, who do you want to get the first and last glance of your day? The whole world is fighting for those 2 seconds. Give them to Christ. The crucifix on the facing wall is how you win that fight without even trying. Now, before I go further, let me back up because I'm getting ahead of myself and I want to be practical. Some of you are asking the very reasonable question, what kind of crucifix? How big? How high? So let me answer that plainly. The crucifix should be a crucifix, not just a bare cross. Meaning it should have the figure of Christ on it. There's nothing wrong with a plain cross. But in the bedroom especially, you want the corpus, the body, the face, because the whole comfort of it is that you're looking at a person who suffered, not just a shape. And let me say a word about that because it's become a quiet argument in our own homes. You've seen it. The trend the last few decades toward the bare cross, the clean, empty cross, no figure, no body, very tasteful, very minimal, fits the decor, and I understand the appeal. I do. But let me give you my honest opinion, and you can disagree with me. I think we lost something when Christ quietly came off the cross on our walls, because an empty cross is a symbol. A crucifix is a person. An empty cross says, in effect, it's finished. He's risen, which is true and glorious. But a crucifix says, he suffered. He's with you in the suffering right now, tonight. And in the bedroom, in the dark, at 200 in the morning, when your heart is pounding, you do not need a tasteful symbol. You need a person who knows. You need to see the face. So this is one of the few times I'll tell you to spend a little of your decorating instinct. Let the rest of the house be as tasteful as you like, but over the bed, where the fear comes, keep the corpus, keep the body, keep the face. You're not decorating that wall. You're choosing who keeps you company in the dark. Choose the one who's been there. As for size, bigger than you think. We tend to buy these tiny ones. In the bedroom, where you're seeing it from across the room, lying down in low light, get one you can actually make out the figure on. A good size for a hand to hold at the smallest and height. This is the one people get wrong every time. Hang it low enough to see lying down, not at standing eye level. Lower. Test it. Lie on the bed, look at the wall, and have someone hold the crucifix where your eyes naturally rest. That's the spot. Mark it. Hang it there. It'll feel low when you're standing. It's not for when you're standing. It's for when you're lying down in the dark. And that's the whole point. Let me give you a second thing to do with that crucifix, beyond just hanging it. Touch it. There's an old, beautiful habit of kissing the crucifix or making the sign of the cross toward it as you get into bed and as you rise. And I do this myself. Last thing before the light goes out, I reach up or I look across and I make the sign of the cross in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and I hand the night over. Whatever I'm carrying, whatever I couldn't fix today, whoever I'm worried about, I lay it down at the foot of that cross and I let myself sleep. Because here's a truth I had to learn the hard way. You are not the one holding the world together through the night. You never were. You can put it down. The crucifix on the wall is permission to put it down. He's got the night shift. You're allowed to sleep. And let me tell you something about that. Something the old Catholics understood and we've half forgotten. For centuries, the crucifix in the bedroom had one more purpose, the most important one of all. It was the last thing a person looked at before they died. When someone was dying at home in their own bed, the family would take the crucifix off the wall and place it in their hands or hold it up before their eyes so that the very last thing they saw in this world was the face of the one waiting for them in the next. They called it a holy death, a good death, to die looking at the cross. And there are saints who asked for nothing at the end but to hold the crucifix and gaze on it. Now, I know that's a heavy thought, and I'm not trying to frighten anybody, but I'll tell you why it moves me. The same crucifix that keeps you company through the small dark hours of $10,000 in ordinary nights is the very one that will be there on the last night. It's practicing with you. Every night you fall asleep looking at the cross. You are quietly rehearsing the most important moment of your life, the moment you'll close your eyes here and open them there. And you'll do it the way you practiced, looking at him. That's not morbid. That's the most hopeful thing I know. The bedroom crucifix isn't just for sleep. It's for the great sleep too. And the waking after it. And let me give you one more small thing for that bedroom. While we're here, because it pairs with the cross, keep a little holy water on the nightstand, a tiny bottle, that's all. And once a week or whenever a night feels heavy, take a few drops and bless the room. Make the sign of the cross toward the bed, toward the window, toward the door, and ask God simply to guard this room and the rest of everyone who sleeps in it. You don't need fancy words. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, Lord, watch over this room. That's enough. And again, hear me. This is not a spell. It's a prayer. The water is just the church's blessing in your hand. And the asking is yours. But I'll tell you, on the nights when the worry is bad, there is something steadying about reaching for that little bottle, blessing the dark corners of the room, and handing the night to God with your own hand. It's a way of doing something with the fear instead of just lying in it. Faith with your hands, not just your head. And the crucifix on the wall and the holy water on the nightstand, together, they turn that bedroom from just a place you lie awake worrying into a place that is plainly, quietly under God's care. That's the goal, not a fortress, a room where the people you love can rest, because the one who never sleeps is keeping watch. Now, I want to widen this out, because the bedroom is the most important spot, but it's not the only one. The crucifix is the central image of the entire home. If you have one holy thing in your house, it should be a crucifix, and it should be where the family lives. But there's a particular tenderness to the marriage bedroom that I want to name. A crucifix over or facing the bed. A husband and wife share is one of the oldest and most beautiful customs we have. It says this marriage, this bed, this love is under the cross. It's not just ours, it's God's too. And I sat with a couple once. I'll call them Tom and Dorothy, married more than 50 years. And Dorothy told me that on every hard night of that marriage, and there were plenty, the cross on the wall reminded them both that they'd promised this in front of God, and they weren't allowed to quit easy. She laughed when she said it, but she meant it. The cross on the wall held that marriage on the nights the two of them couldn't. 50 years under the cross. And for the children's rooms, the grandchildren's rooms, the same principle with even more gentleness. A crucifix, where a child can see it from the bed, becomes part of how they understand the night. It tells a frightened child the most important thing they can know, that when it's dark and they're scared, they are not alone, and Jesus is right there, and he's not afraid of the dark. I'd rather a child fall asleep under the gaze of Christ than under a closet full of imagined monsters. Put the cross where the child can see it. It does quiet, lifelong work. And let me give the grandparents listening one more thing, because this is close to my heart. If your grandchildren only visit, if there's a guest room they sleep in a few nights a year, that room matters more than you think. Put a crucifix on the wall they face from that bed, because here's what happens. They grow up in homes that may have nothing holy in them at all. The whole world they live in points them away from God. And then a few nights a year, they come to your house and they sleep in a room with a cross on the wall and a grandmother who isn't afraid to make the sign of the cross over them before they sleep. And you may never see what that does, but I've watched grown men and women who'd walked away from everything find their way back. And when you trace it back, so often it leads to a grandparent's house, a cross on a guest room wall, a blessing whispered over a sleeping child. You are not just decorating a spare room. You are building the one place in that child's world where God is plainly, unembarrassedly at home. Make that room holy. It may be the only holy room they ever sleep in, and they will remember it their whole lives. Now, I have to be straight with you, the way I'd want a friend to be straight with me, because I can hear the objection forming, and it's an important one. Some of you are thinking, Robin, this is starting to sound like you think the crucifix protects the room, like it's a charm against bad things. And I want to address that head on because it's the most important thing I'll say today. The crucifix is not a charm. It does not work like a spell that seals the room against trouble. If anyone tells you that hanging a cross guarantees nothing bad will happen in that room, they are not teaching you the faith. They're selling you superstition. And I won't do that to you. Here's the truth. The crucifix has no power of its own. None. It is a sign. It's a reminder. What it does is it turns your heart toward Christ, who does have power, and who you ask with your own prayer to watch over that room and the people in it. The protection, if we want to call it that, comes from God through your faith and your prayer, not from the wood and the metal on the wall. The cross just keeps pointing you to Him. Don't trust the object. Trust the one the object points to. That's the whole difference between faith and superstition, and it matters more than I can say. And let me be honest, the cold honest thing, because I respect you too much not to. Hanging a crucifix on the right wall will not keep grief out of that bedroom. It won't stop the bad news from coming. People who love God deeply and pray every night still lie awake afraid, still lose the people they love, still suffer in those rooms. The cross on the wall does not promise you a life without suffering. How could it? It's a cross. It's the very image of suffering. What it promises is something better and harder. It promises that your suffering is not meaningless and not alone, that the God who let Himself be nailed to that wood is with you in your dark room, that He understands, and that this is not the end of the story. That's what the crucifix promises, not to know pain, pain that isn't alone and isn't wasted and isn't the end. I won't promise you more than that. But brothers and sisters, that is not a small thing. That might be the only thing big enough to get through the worst nights of their life. And let me be honest about what to expect when you move it, because I don't want you thinking it's a switch you flip. The first few nights, honestly, you'll feel a little self-conscious. You'll look at the cross on purpose and think, am I doing this right? Do I feel holy yet? And no, you won't, not really. And that's fine. Give it a couple of weeks. What happens is it stops being a thing you do and becomes a thing that's just there. You'll wake one ordinary morning and realize your eyes went to Him before you even thought about it. You'll catch yourself on a hard night looking across at the cross without deciding to. The way you'd look at a person sitting up with you. That's when you know it's working, not when it feels dramatic, when it feels ordinary, when the cross becomes a member of the household, quietly keeping the night watch. And one more honest thing, there will be nights the cross is on the wall and you still don't pray, still don't feel anything, still just lie there worn out. Those nights count too. You don't have to perform for the crucifix. You just have to let it be there. Even your silence in front of the cross is a kind of prayer. He's not grading you. He's keeping you company. So here is what I'd love for you to do this week. Tonight, if you can, go into your bedroom. Lie down on the bed like you're going to sleep and just look at the wall in front of you. The wall you actually face. Is there a crucifix there? Can you see it lying down in the low light? If not, find the crucifix you already own somewhere in the house and move it to that wall at a height you can see from the pillow. You don't have to buy anything. Just move it to where it can keep you company in the dark. And then tonight, before you turn off the light, look at it and make the sign of the cross and say 6 words. Just 6. Jesus, I give you the night. And then let yourself sleep. He's got it. He always did. And if there's a child's room or a grandchild's room in your house, do the same for them. Low enough on the facing wall that a small one can see it from the bed, so that the dark for them has a friend in it. Let me pray with you over your bedroom and your rest before we go. Lord Jesus, you who slept in a boat in the middle of the storm, come into the bedrooms of everyone listening to me right now. Be on the wall they face in the dark. Be the first thing they see when they wake afraid, and the last thing they see before they close their eyes. Take the worries they cannot put down and hold them through the night so your people can finally rest. And for the one lying awake right now, heart pounding, carrying too much, let them know you are right there. You have been there all along, and they can give you the night. Amen. Keep your home holy. Keep your people close, and I'll see you right back here. Bring a friend and do me a favor. Down in the comments, tell me, is there a crucifix on the wall you face from your bed? And if you move it tonight,